So I want you to just take a look at this for a moment and just think about what you feel when you look at this picture. Okay. The question is, do you respond well to this picture? Do you feel like this is God's love? There's often a lot of hurt in our past around money. We grow up and we have all kinds of troubles because of a shortage of money, and things happen in our minds and it puts a taint on money, which we need to really recognise and start to work through. Just think about how you think about that picture, what you think of when you look at the picture. So wealthy people, famous people, people who are have fame and prosperity in that sense, jets, cars, power, whichever side of politics you're on, do you have a respect for powerful people? Do you respect how difficult their job is and the effort that they do make? Nobody's saying that people don't make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes and everybody's going through difficulties. But if we don't have respect for people who are healthy or people who have friends, if we look at people who have lots of friends and we think, oh, they must just be popular people and have no depth, if we look at these things and we taint them by justifying the reason that we don't attain what these people attain, it means that we don't really aspire in our hearts to become like them. And there's no reason we shouldn't look at all these pictures and think, wonderful, wonderful that those people have succeeded so well. Okay? Does that make sense? It's troubling, right? I know that it's a little bit difficult sometimes to look at pictures like this and feel positive. I know, because I feel the same. I see this guy with loads of money and it's very hard to look at and feel generous towards that picture and not try and make excuses to that. We've already been through 3 of the 4 pillars. The fourfold path in Happy Science is sort of the core teachings, and they're love, knowledge, self-reflection, and development or prosperity. So today we're up to prosperity. So this is really where all of those others, love, wisdom, self-reflection, where it has an impact on the world. So where we can make a difference in the world and really improve in this world. So it has an effect on the other world, for sure, when we talk about heaven and the spirit world, but it also has a brilliant effect in this world. Prosperity and money and commerce have created a much lighter, brighter world and have really reduced the amount of physical suffering for countless people. So on the whole, money is certainly a wonderful thing. And it's a wonderful reward for effort. So people who make effort, they work hard, they do jobs that other people might not want to do, get a reward, and they get to spend their money on things that they want and actually enjoy them. And that is good, right? It's good that people get to have beautiful things, drive nice cars, live in nice environments. That's actually a good thing. And if we feel in our hearts that it's not a good thing, in a way, we're blocking ourselves from manifesting that for ourselves. Okay? But it's not the best that wealth can be. There's a higher level of prosperity. Okay? And this is kind of what I'd like to talk about a little bit more today, is when we use our wealth, when we have wealth and we use it for the benefit of others, it multiplies the benefit of that wealth. Okay? So when we use wealth for our own benefit, it has good. It is good. But when we use it for others, it multiplies that goodness. Okay? So it's like we've been through the teachings of love in the past. If you're giving love, then it is much better than just receiving love. So you can only receive a certain amount of love. And wealth, prosperity, I don't just mean money, but prosperity is very similar. The more you give, the more you emit, the more you can receive. They're very much linked. Of course, we don't think about them. We think about the material manifestation of prosperity, the money, the things. And that in this world, it works a little differently. In this world, it appears that the more we take, the more we receive, the more we can get from others. And people are fooled into thinking that that is how the world works. But there's a subtler world. And the subtler world says that the mind is first. All things come from the mind, manifest from the mind. And from that world, the more that you give, the more you emit, the more you attract. So you attract the same vibration. So if you emit prosperity, you attract prosperity. The universe is full of abundance. The sun shines down on us and gives us light and life and food and everything that we need every day. It doesn't ask for anything in return. And all the animals at least on the surface of the world, live in the abundance of the sun. And to us, in the spirit world, there's a spiritual sun, and light shines, and in the high parts of heaven, there's, God's light is shining and filling the universe with abundance. And that abundance is not dependent on anything, except that we tune into it, and we just bring it into our existence. Okay? So there's not... Lack doesn't exist in the world. It's like darkness doesn't exist, it's just an absence of light. So there is abundance, we just need to stop blocking it. Okay? If you aim to enrich only yourself and nourish only yourself, then the light that shines through you and into your life, and I guess we could say luck that happens around you, and the guidance that we get from the spirits, and all the good things that come into your life, there's a limit to how much comes, because the universe has a kind of efficiency. It won't pour enough light into you to change the world if your aspiration is to sit on the couch. And I don't want to sound harsh, but especially in this heat, most of our aspirations are about sitting on the couches. Like some people strive to be rich so that they can have a couch on a boat so they can sit on the couch, And everybody works hard so that they can get home at the end of the day and rest. But if that's our deepest goal, if that's our greatest aspiration, heaven's not going to pour energy into us so that we can sit on the couch. There's no need. It's an inefficiency. So we receive enough energy and enough light to carry out the mission that we set for ourselves. So if we set our aspirations higher and we aspire to do more and to be more and to influence more and change the world for the good, then the spirits will be inspired by our lives, and they'll look at us and they'll say, I want to help those people. It's like if you ask for someone for support for yourself, they're far less likely to support you than if it's to carry on a great mission or to help others. True love and true wealth are very similar, and they should be, love that gives and wealth that gives. It should be an attitude of giving so that the flow continues. If you're in an attitude of getting, you kind of start to implode. If all you want is the love of others, the attention of others, you kind of get into a dark and depressed place when you can't get enough of their love. And the same with wealth. If all you want is to acquire wealth, you will never have enough. You will never be satisfied in the same way. And you get into a darker and darker place the more you're grasping. But the more you strive to give, and with a generous heart, an open heart, cheerful attitude, the more you strive to give, the more the flow can happen in your life. So I want to show you this. Master talks quite a bit about different hell realms. And to us, in the other world, all of the spirit world is based on thoughts. Everything is made of thoughts. So if people have negative thoughts, they create fields around themselves, and they clump together different individuals, and they create realms of hell, unfortunately, with negative thoughts that they've carried from this world into the other world and haven't been able to let go when they die. And one of those realms that he sometimes talks about, and the one most relevant to today's topic, is the realm of hungry spirits, hungry ghosts. And they're described in traditional Buddhism as being a realm where the creatures are so, the people, which I should remember that they're people, even though they don't look like people after a while, they're so impoverished, you know, their fingernails fall out and their hair falls out and their teeth fall out, and they become increasingly degraded, and they start kind of eating each other because they're hungry and they're wanting, they're trying to take from each other. So they kind of eat each other, but it's all made of thought, so the people they eat kind of come back after a while and gnaw on them, and it's very messy business. But the problem is, it's not limited to the world of our thoughts becomes things, and if we haven't got the thoughts to lift us out of that sort of state, it becomes a reality in this world as well. So in this world and the other world, we want to aim for increased prosperity. Marxism, I mean, for many years, you know, the great experiment, people were kind of under the thrall of Marxist ideas. But the problem with the core of Marxism is this kind of justification of poverty. So Marx kind of makes excuses for poverty, says that everyone out there is to blame. The bosses are to blame, the government's to blame. The blame is outside of us. And it really it really cherished poverty, you know, and this like kind of base sort of equality. So, I mean, prisoners can be equals, but there's no flourishing there, right? So with that same sort of attitude, humans need to have an equality of opportunity, not an equality of outcome. If we just make everybody's lives the same and everybody's outcome the same, there's no opportunity for individuals to flourish and to be themselves and to be greater and become greater. And you want to allow people to, you know, as much as they're capable, to muster as much of their will and their energy of themselves and become as great as they can. And simply forcing everybody into equality is not the way to do that. So don't justify your poverty. Don't make excuses for your poverty. Your current situation is not the responsibility of government, big corporations, rich people, the economic climate, parents, anyone else. So reclaim your power around that. In all economic climates, there's still people who succeed despite it. So saying that, oh, in this hard downturn, I can't succeed, my business is failing because of the economy, there's no need to make those excuses. There's no need to do that, because it stops you from pushing through that barrier. And you can get through it. God is love and God is prosperity. And to tune our minds, to make our minds more like the mind of God, to tune to the characteristics of God and make our mind more like those characteristics. So having a positive outlook, Master says, is the simplest form of spiritual life. Even those who shun religious faith can accept this. And he says, live with a simple, cheerful mind. So some people get very complicated in their theories and in their thinking, and they stack ideas one upon another, and it becomes very complicated and it burdens their mind. So don't think too much about all the things that worry us, our sore bodies, our financial difficulties. Don't focus too heavily on those, because we become those as we focus more on them. Our minds point towards them and we move towards that reality. So think, even if you could find many faults in the world, don't focus too much on those. Focus on great hope for the future, brighter future. Step towards that reality. First in your mind and then with your actions, and step into that greater reality. If your goals aren't great, you don't need much spiritual support to do the bare minimum. But if your goals are to change the world, many spirits will come to help you. And I think Master Okawa and Happy Science are evidence of that. Many people have come to support the teachings and work very hard, and because his goal was great. People don't want to support a mediocre goal. They want to support the highest idea they can find. Once you do become wealthy, he says, keep a steady eye. So some people, the excitement of the sudden wealth or sudden success can make them a little skittish, and the success starts to taint their vision. So keep a steady eye, focused on the future. Don't get attached to the physical world. You already know better, so don't don't make that mistake. That's that's easy. Remember to keep benefiting others. So as you continue to grow in prosperity, don't become complacent. Continue to benefit others, and it multiplies. I think Jewish people and Christian people tithe. They give 10% of their income, and because they know that it multiplies, a multiple of that comes back. So continue to give, and it continues to flow. So to keep that flow going. Feeling gratitude, humility, and continuing in selfless service are what turns wealth into great success. It's that sort of attitude. When we look at wealthy people and we feel negatively towards them, it's often because they don't keep that humility. It starts to ruin their character. Too much wealth has ruined their attitude. So they've started to think, I'm better than other people, or I can get more than other people, so I'm somehow different. Don't let your thinking change in that way. Feel generous and humble, and continue and be grateful to God for the opportunity.